John Fredericks, America's Godzilla of truth, popular and proficient in picking politics with prophetic precision. And now Jay Fred's picking football.
Are y'all ready for this?
All across the airwaves and streams of the John Fredericks Media Network. Brought to you by DraftKings.com. When the game is on your mind and money's on the line, Godzilla wins. Your guide to picking football winners. With America's Godzilla of truth, John Fredericks. Brought to you by DraftKings. Go to DraftKings.com. Promo code Godzilla for the best money and betting giveaways in America. Before you make that play, hear what J. Fred has to say. Godzilla wins on the John Fredericks Media Network.
Oh yeah, for entertainment purposes only.
Not a lot of entertainment, folks, when you start the season 5-10 like I did, but it's a long season. There's 17 weeks. There's a lot of more games coming up, and there's the playoffs. And as usual, when it's all said and done, we're going to make money, but it's for entertainment purposes only. As you know, got Jack live in the Jackpot Casino in Tunica. He's on the line. He's going to be with us. Nate, no pick Nate Perry, who put his six-pack college column out yesterday, is not available today. He's traveling on special assignment, going to one of these games where he's going to be able to report back. You can read Nate's picks. Go to GodzillaWins.com. That's GodzillaWins.com. We're live in Morgantown, West Virginia today, where we're doing our show. Joe having his, Jack's brother, and our youngest son, Joe, having his official visit with the West Virginia Mountaineers this weekend. So they're going to the game, and Mom is off doing the orientation, where I'm here doing the game in Morgantown, West Virginia. Great place, by the way. Might be a good spot to live one of these days. We'll have to see what happens. We got Jack on the line. We got a lot going on. Live in Morgantown for all the action. Got to go to GodzillaWins.com. GodzillaWins.com. Now, it's just not the picks we have up. This is turning into a great site. We've got great analysis by a number of teams this season, and you really want to check it out. We got the Dogs. We've got the Ravens. We've got the Raiders. We've got inside analysis. Of course, you get my column for the two Titans fans out there. You get my column on the Titans as well, so you don't want to miss that. But it's all there, and Nate's college picks are up there. Go to GodzillaWins.com, GodzillaWins.com, and you're good to go. And want to thank everybody too joining us here on Getter Live. Thanks for being on Getter Live as always. Rich Paxton says Morgantown is probably better than Woke County. Oh my goodness! Yes, Ann does not like Woke County. There's no way Mama Bear's staying there for she's got the date on the calendar circled in 2023. We move, so she just doesn't like it there. And somebody say we're not coming up, but we're up because I'm seeing it on screen. And Rich Paxton says read the picks on Godzilla picking against the Washington team again. No, I picked them last week and won the bet, so. Wrong about that. But it's good to have you with us. Now, you want to get in the action. How do you do that? You go to DraftKings. All you got to do is go to DraftKings.com, download their free app, put in promo code Godzilla, and here's what happens. You put $5 in your account. $5, right? You can't get a cup of coffee at Starbucks for that. You pick any team, and you win $200 instantly whether the team wins or loses. So for $5, get you $200 free bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on any football game. That's promo code Godzilla. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. Put in promo code Godzilla. That's promo code Godzilla to get your $200 of free bets for $5. Even Al Green is like, how can I get in this action? Al wants a $200. By the way, Al's sitting in today for Derek, running our show. Al, good job. Also, David had to get us on Getter Live. I had to wake him up today. So all hands on deck. Thank you, David, for doing that. We really appreciate it. Must be 21 or older, states where it's allowed only. Bonus issued is free bets. One early win token issued at opt-in. Moneyline bets only. Deposit and wagering restrictions apply. Eligibility in terms at DraftKings.com/football terms. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call the Problem Gambling Helpline, 888-532-3500. Let's get right to it. We've got Jack in Tunica at the Jackpot Casino, where he's actually having a good season. We picked Florida State University. Nate did yesterday, +2. We won that bet. So let's just get right to it here, and let's roll. By the way, we're on Getter Live, and don't forget to put your comments. I'll read them. And now, because Nate's not here, anybody wants to call in and make a comment, speak to Smooth. Smooth's running our show today. That's Smooth Al Green, 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-JOHN. So we're going to open the phone lines, and Smooth there is ready to go. He's on his own this weekend because Derek's sick, so he's got to run like 9 football games at once. Al, how you ever pull this off, I have no idea, but you'll figure it out. Now, let's get Pats and Steelers. Pittsburgh at home. They're 2-point underdog to New England, who looked like crap last week in Miami. Plus, we don't know if Mac Jones is playing. Plus, Pittsburgh's at home. Plus, they just had a big upset over Cincinnati. I mean, everything points to the Steelers, right? Take the 2? No. The Patriots look pathetic. I agree. Matt Patricia's offensive game plan is horrific. Almost as, worse than Todd Downing's. No, Todd Downing's the worst. Titans, worst ever. He's second. This team looked so bad last night. Here's the problem with Pittsburgh, okay? Here's the problem, okay? 5 quarters, 70 minutes. Let me tell you what their offensive output was against a Metacore Bengals defense. 267 total yards. And they got 5 turnovers. And they won the game because McPherson, who is automatic, misses a point after and a chip shot field goal to end regulation. Unbelievable. I just can't bet this team when you get 260 yards in 70 minutes. I mean, you do the math, that's like 4 yards a minute. I mean, it's just, forget it. I'm taking the Pats, lay the 2. Your Belichick doesn't want to come out of the box 0-2. These are 2 really bad teams, but I just think the Patriots have got a little more talent. I'm going to go with the Pats, lay the 2. Jack?
Hi. So great to be here. So I think for me, I really like the. Well, I don't think I picked this game actually, and one of the reasons that I didn't pick it was because I'm sort of leaning Steelers, but there's no T.J. Watt, so that's a huge problem for me. If you watched that game last week before T.J. Watt got hurt, the guy was just unstoppable. He picked off a pass. He was disrupting Joe Burrow all day. The Bengals offensive line looks like the Bengals offensive line from last year, where Joe Burrow was just getting sacked constantly, always under pressure. T.J. Watt, in my opinion, if he would have stayed healthy this year, Defensive Player of the Year, no question about that. And if he was playing, I'd take the Steelers. I wouldn't even think about it. Patriots, I mean, okay, they always lose to Miami, but they didn't look very good in the loss. Matt Patricia, like you said, is not Josh McDaniels. Mac Jones picked up where he left off in the last half of last season. So I don't really like either team because there's no T.J. Watt, so I just stay away from the game, but I would lean Steelers because at least you get the points, and, I mean, they did win the game.
Okay, well, you're like no pick Nate. I guess you're doing no picks in his absence. Look, I like the Pats here. I don't think Belichick goes 0-2, and I just don't think Pittsburgh's. I mean, you got to score to win, right? You got to put points on the board. 267 yards in 70 minutes. All I need to know against a Metacore defense. So I'm going with the Pats minus the 2. Okay, Cats at Giants. Panthers going to New York at the Meadowlands. Look, everybody's on the Giants bandwagon now. The New York papers are in. They're having a love affair with Shaquan. They're saying how the Giants are going to be resurgent. Let me tell you about this game Sunday. Okay, folks? Tennessee should have been up 28-0 at the half. Probably one of the worst games the Titans have played in years. I think it was a disaster for them for a lot of reasons. You can go to GodzillaWins.com and read my column. They lost their identity. This game was a blowout in the first half. Tennessee led them back in the game. They called stupid plays. 3rd and 1, they're doing trick plays with Derrick Henry sitting there with his finger up his nose. Asinine game. Giants aren't that good. They had 3 big plays. That's how they won. Shaquan Barkley, 2 80-yard runs, 1 long pass that got tipped. Giants never should have been in this game. They win it. Now everybody's on the Giants bandwagon. Here's why I make you money in football, okay? Everybody's betting the Giants. Panthers didn't look that good last week. They got off to a slow start. Mayfield, not sharp, right? Their defense, not sharp. They were supposed to be a good team. They got slapped up top the head last week. Now they're going to the Meadowlands. I love the Cats in this game. Taking 1.5, I think they win the whole game. They're not going to get off to the start they did. And the Giants just aren't that good. So I like Cats plus 1.5. Jack?
Yeah, the problem with your take there is that if the Giants were playing a high school team, you would choose the high school team because you're so mad at them for embarrassing the Titans last week. So I mean, it doesn't matter who they play, you would always pick the other team because you're so mad at the Giants. Now, I agree, the Giants are not very good. They didn't look good in that game, but the Titans are supposed to be good. So you can say, okay, well, the Giants overperformed. They're going to rely on Saquon Barkley. They have to. Daniel Jones is a backup quarterback. He's not any good. If you watched that game, which I watched quite a bit of it, Jones looks down one receiver the entire time. He has one option. He stares at them. He throws them the ball. He hopes that he catches it. He's not playing quarterback. He's just playing catch. So that's a problem. But Saquon Barkley's a beast. Their offensive line looked pretty good. They moved the ball pretty well. Their defense seemed to frustrate Tennessee. And Carolina looked horrible against Cleveland. I bet them last week. I thought they were going to be a sleeper in the NFC South. They disappointed me. I'm not taking them again. We're in New York. New York's rolling. Give me the 1.5 and just pray that someone kicks a field goal at the end of the game and wins by 3.
Listen, we'll see what happens, right? But I really like Carolina in this game. It's really one of my best bets. I don't think they come out in the gate flat like they were. I look for a Baker Mayfield rebound, so we'll see there. So Jack likes Giants. I like Cats plus 1.5. Okay, let's get to Indianapolis at Jacksonville. Jacksonville plus 3. Wow. You look at the game I bet Washington last week. That was one of my best bets. I was counting that as a win in my money column, and then all of a sudden Jacksonville comes back from nowhere. The Washington whatevers let them get back in the game, and then they go down the field and then score when I win the bet. I know there's a lot of people going on the Jags. I don't see this team. I think they're at least a season away from being competitive. The Colts played a stink pot game last week. I think they overlooked the Texans. They went in there and they came away with a tie. And even that was a gift because Texans almost beat them. They were ahead the whole game. I don't think the Colts come out that way this week. Look, you really think the Colts, with all the talent they have, are going to start the season with a win and a loss against the two bottom feeders in the AFC South? I don't see it. As competitive as the Jags played last week, Washington controlled the game throughout. I just think Jacksonville's got a long way to go. I love Colts here minus 3. Actually, this game, in any other situation, is minus 7 for Colts. It's 3 because people are looking at the Jags. They think they're kind of a chic pick this season. The Colts were horrible last week. They didn't execute anything. The one concern I've got, Jack, is Matty Ice looked really old last week. He looked very immobile. And that's an issue because he really couldn't get away from even an average pass rush. He has no legs, and he really looked his age last week. That's my only concern. But I like Indy minus the 3. Jack?
Yeah, I mean, the problem with Matt Ryan is you have to protect him in order for him to be effective. He is a veteran quarterback, so he's going to make good decisions, but he's also old, which means you're going to get games like last week in Houston, and you're going to get really good games. My thing with this game, the way my perspective is, you either think the Colts stink because they tied with Houston, Jacksonville is better than we thought because they covered last week, or Houston is better than we thought because they tied with the Colts. I'm on the side, and we'll talk about Houston a little bit. I think Houston might be pretty good. In that vein, I feel like Indy is going to get right in this game and win by 3 points. I also think that you're right that we're getting a gift. This should be minus 8.5 in any other scenario, but it's minus 3. So you don't have to lay a lot of points because the Colts looked so bad last week. But all Matt Ryan has to do is play even remotely effective. The Jags are not very good. Their defense isn't good. Their offensive line is a mess. They can run the ball a little bit. Trevor Lawrence didn't exactly look like he made a huge jump from year 1 to year 2, at least not last week. I don't see any reason why Jacksonville covers this game, other than historically Jacksonville beats Indianapolis. I mean, that's the only reason I would take Jacksonville, because they're only beating the Colts all the time. You pick the Colts, I pick the Colts, Nate picked the Colts. I think the smart money is laying 3 points on a better team. You don't have to lay 7. You don't have to lay 7. You just have to lay 3.
I agree with you, Jack, 100%. This game, I said 7. I mean, it could have easily been 8.5. This is basically an 8.5 game. But the Colts played so bad last week, and Jacksonville kind of surprised. Now, they didn't cover, just to clarify there. Washington did, and they did win the bet last week. So, but look, Washington controlled the entire game. To your point, and why it's only 3. The whatevers controlled the entire game last week. Until the end, Jacksonville came back and actually took the lead. So people are looking at that saying, this team's got a little spunk here. And even though they were outplayed the majority of the game, because at the end, another interception by, guess who, the heartthrob quarterback, Lawrence. But that's what beat him. So people are saying, okay, that game, Jacksonville's better. Colts are worse. It's 3 in Jacksonville. This is an underlay. This is my second best bet of the week. Cats is number 1 along with the Colts. Okay, big game in Baltimore. The Fish go to the Ravens. While they looked great last week. Brand new coach. They completely manhandled New England. A lot of people say, oh, well, there was a pick in the end zone and that changed the game. I watched that game. I picked one game to watch. Obviously, I've got the other games on the red zone, but I picked one game to watch. I watched that whole game. If they play 10 times that way, New England's going to get beat by Miami 10 times. They were horrific last week. Nothing worked for them. It didn't even look like a Bill Belichick team, and Miami looked really sharp. Now, having said that, Lamar Jackson's pissed off. Give me the Angry Birds in their home opener. I don't know how good the Ravens are. That's the issue. I know how good the Finns are. I don't know how good the Ravens are. They're at home. Now, last season, Miami had a big upset when they had that 8-game winning streak. They beat them. They punched 8 in the box, and they really frustrated Jackson, and they frustrated the offensive game plan. They're not going to be able to do that again. Harbaugh's going to figure that out. I like Lamar Jackson at home. I like the Ravens here in this spot. I think the Dolphins come back down to earth. 3.5's tough because you got to beat them by over a field goal. I like the Ravens lay the 3.5. Jack?
Right, and if you go to GodzillaWins.com, you can navigate to our site and find our Ravens column. That's written by senior Ravens analyst Peter Kribel, and he puts out a preview every week as well as a post-game analysis. If you read his preview for this week, he really breaks down some of the matchups that you'll see in Miami. He feels like the Ravens are going to win that game, but he doesn't think it's going to be a blowout. I didn't watch any of the Ravens-Jets game last week because there's just not enough time in the day, and I just don't have any interest in watching the Jets. I rarely ever bet them. I don't know who they are as a team. What I do know about the Ravens is that they're very explosive. They have a lot of weapons, and they're going to score a lot of points this year, and they could be really good. I mean, this could be an AFC Championship contender. I'm not sure yet, but it certainly looked that way from week 1. They looked like they did about 2 years ago before they lost to the Titans in that playoff game. So I didn't pick this game, but I was looking at some of the prop bets because our analyst thinks that Isaiah Likely, who's a rookie wide receiver, is going to go off in this game. So I figured, maybe DraftKings has some prop receiving yards on that guy. Be pretty low, pretty easy bet. They don't because he's a rookie. But the matchups also indicate that possibly some of the Ravens star receivers might get locked up by some of the cornerbacks for the Dolphins. They have a good secondary. So I took Rashad Bateman minus, I think, under 45.5 yards. I know you hate those.
Right, you've got your pick here, Rashad Bateman, receiver, getting under 45.5 receiving yards. That's minus 115. That's your pick. Nate also picked here the Ravens like I did. He's not available today. He's on assignment. But we both like the Birds in the nest minus 3.5. Okay, let's get to New Orleans. Tampa at Saints. Saints are plus 2.5. Let me just be candid. I don't really care how many times the Saints beat Brady. I don't care that Brady has 5 injured receivers. I don't care that the Saints are at home. I don't care about New Orleans. I don't care about their cuisine. I don't care about their woke mayor flying first class on the taxpayer's dime. I don't give a rat's tail about any of that crap. All I know is that Bucs defense last week has got to be the best right now in the NFL. And somebody actually has to score a touchdown on this team. They were absolutely suffocating in every aspect of the game on the road in Dallas. Now they're going to New Orleans. Look, do the Saints have God's gift to the offensive schemes? No. I love Tampa in this game. You've got to score on them. Look, Brady's got personal issues. The guy's a professional, man. He's a veteran. Doesn't bother me. He goes out in the field, completes his passes, goes down the field. The Saints' domination in that Dallas game was stunning to me. I was stunned by it. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. I mean, did I say the Saints? Tampa Bay's domination in that Dallas game was shocking. And I don't know if it means Dallas is that bad, Tampa's that good. But when you dominate on what was that, Monday night? When you dominate a Monday night game or Sunday night to that extent on the road defensively, I'm going to lay the 2.5. Look, you're going to if the Saints don't score, you cover. I love the Bucs here. Lay the 2.5. Somebody's got to score on them. Jack?
I can't believe that this line is 2.5. It must be an overreaction from the Saints come from behind when against the Falcons. Because the Saints looked like trash for 3 quarters in that game against Atlanta. Atlanta pushed them all over the place. Jameis Winston couldn't complete a pass. They can't move the ball on the ground. And now you only have to lay 2.5 points after Tom Brady in what probably is the best defense in the NFL, at least the NFC. They absolutely embarrassed Dallas, a team that a lot of people liked for that division. I mean, this line should be 9. I can't believe you're getting 2.5. It has to be an overreaction from the Saints game. I know it's a bitter division rival. I mean, I would never lay 9, especially I think this is in the Superdome. But I mean, I'm laying the 2.5. This Tampa Bay team looks so good. I mean, they look like one of the best teams in the league right now, and you only have to lay 2.5. You don't even have to win by a field goal. This is an easy bet. I mean, this is just lock it in. You don't even have to watch the game. You're going to win.
In fact, I would say both of us are all over Tampa Bay here. I would tell everybody, bet it now. Go to DraftKings.com, download their app, put in promo code Godzilla, put $5 in. You're going to get 200,000 free bets. Right, do it instantly. As soon as you make the bet, you get the 200. I'd bet it on the Bucs here before the line goes up. This is not going to stay at 2.5. I bet by game. I mean, I've already put my bet in because I know by game time this thing is going to be 3.5 when the smart money in Vegas starts going on Tampa Bay. But I think you nailed it. I mean, this is an underlay based on the Saints comeback against what I think is an inferior Atlanta team. And I think they took them lightly. So I'm with you on that. Both Jack and I like Tampa Bay minus the 2.5. I mean, minus 2.5 over the Saints. Okay. Phone lines are open if you want to weigh in. 888-480-JOHN. Al's there. We're ready for your calls. 888-480-5646. Al, somebody calls in. Just text me. We're good to go. Let's get to Washington at Detroit. The Washington whatevers. I've got a little, if you go to our column, I've got a little emoji for the team. I don't even know what their team's name is. I bet them last week. I won the bet. Now they go to Detroit. Detroit's got a competitive team. I bet the Eagles last week. I laid 4, right? That was another one. I'm counting it as a win. Betting money based on that when they're up by what? 17 with 6 minutes to go. The Lions played competitive in that game. They came back, scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, did an onside kick, almost came back in that game. They're 1-point favorite over Washington. I can't remember the last time the Lions were favored over anybody. They're at home like they were against the Eagles. They get their first 2 games at home. Washington goes on the road. They look good last week, but let Jacksonville come back, almost beat them. I'm going to go with the Lions. I'm going to take a shot. I bet him every Thanksgiving. That's it. I'm going to give him a shot. I'm going to go out on the limb. I kind of like this team. I like the way they played last week. As Jared Goff says, before we can learn how to win, we have to learn how to not to lose. By the way, one of the best lines ever. Maybe this is the week the Lions learn how to win a game. I'm going to go with Detroit, lay the 1. Jack?
Yeah, I do not agree with you on this. I think that Washington has a very explosive offense and a lot of big play potential, and I think that the Lions have no way of stopping any explosive plays. I think this is an overreaction for a backdoor cover when the Lions overperformed against Philadelphia. I just don't see this game competitive. I think the Lions stink, and I've been on the Lions for like 3 or 4 weeks, and then I watched them play, and I just decided that they were horrible. I was lucky to cover that game. They were getting trounced, and then all of a sudden they slid back in, and I won that bet. It was a great play for me, but I'm not taking them again. Washington looks much better. I like the Commanders, the Commodores, whatever you call them. I'm all in on Washington. Plus, you get a point. I mean, this team should win. You should bet the money line, really, but you get a point. So you can't even worry about. You don't have to worry about the Lions flipping in for another backdoor cover or Washington giving up a bunch of points at the end because you get a point. They're going to win the game. This is an easy bet.
All right, Jack. He likes Washington, whatever. So I'm going with the Lions -1. We'll see what happens there. I'm going to have a big week this week. I was 5-10 last week. Last time I had a bad week, I bounced back with a monster week, got over above even. I'm going to have I feel a great week. By the way, we start off with a winner on Thursday night. Both Jack and I picked that winner Thursday night. Jack, go ahead.
You want to talk about the Chargers?
No, just that we picked the winner. Chargers actually should have won the whole game. Had been that pick 6. So we got off with a win. I love getting off Thursday night with a win. Get some momentum going to the weekend. Plus, we all had Florida State last night. They came back winning, beating Louisville with a backup quarterback. Shows you what their medal is. So we're off to a good start. Okay, let's go to Atlanta Clown Show. Going to the West Coast, Rams -10. Big line here. A lot of people now jumping on the Clown Show, jumping on Maestro Marietta, saying, wow, this is, 10 points. Yay, take the 10. Here's my question. Does anybody out there that follows football, do you really think this Rams team is going to go 0-2, losing their first 2 games at home? Do you really think that? Are you going to get it? Is it going to be 5 o'clock on Sunday and the Rams are 0-2 with 2 home losses? I don't think so, right? So now it's a matter of how many did they win by? And my rule of betting football is if you don't think the team can win, don't bet them regardless of the line. Rams, this is going to be a blowout. New Orleans stinks. Atlanta's not that good. They just don't have the talent. Mariota's going to get hurt in the second quarter. He's going to be sitting on the sidelines in the hoodie, turning into a wet rat. I love the Rams. Lay the 10. Forget about it. Jack?
Yeah, I mean, this is why you're 5-10. It's exactly this reason, because you didn't watch Atlanta last week, and you're betting that possibly the quarterback could get hurt. I mean, if we're going in wagering that a quarterback might get hurt in a game, the starting QB, then I mean, what are we wagering?
Because he gets hurt in every game. Because when he was with the Titans, the guy was hurt in every single game. He's a skinny little guy. He has no meat on his bones. So, I'm not a fan. I'm just not a fan. We'll see what happens. Go ahead.
I mean, you're mad because he used to play for the Titans and he wasn't very good and he was hurt all the time. And then he went out in Atlanta and he looked really good. And so now you're mad because you have Tannehill. So look, the Falcons moved the football. I mean, they moved the football for 3 quarters. That offensive line absolutely owned the Saints' defensive line. Marietta opens up so much in the run game and in the pass game because he can do things with his legs that Matt Ryan never could. They have a beast running back in Patterson. This team can score points. Now, are they going to run the ball as effectively against the Rams' defensive line? No. Are they going to win the game? Probably not. The Rams are really good. But you get 10 points here, and the Rams underperformed against the Bills, all the Falcons have to do is move the ball, get in the end zone a couple times, flip in for a backdoor cover, garbage touchdown at the end. I saw that happen. I've seen that happen multiple times in the last week or two. That's all they got to do: kick a field goal. The Rams win by 9 or whatever. So it's too many points to lay when a team played as well as the Falcons did last week. It's too early in the season to be laying 10 points. You don't know anything about these teams. A lot of them are just getting in their second game. They don't play the preseason anymore. So look for the Falcons to overperform. Rams should win the game, but 10 points is a lot of points. I'm with the Falcons. They looked good last week. I don't care what you say.
We'll see what happens with the clown show. Lay the 10, laugh when you win by 25. I love the Rams here. All right, Jack Fredericks, John Fredericks, Jack and John, Nate on special assignment today. We're on GodzillaWins.com. We've got the big games coming up. We've got Niners, we got Cowboys, we got Bungles all coming up. Plus, we got the Sunday night game. We got Minnesota. We got the Pack all next. Quick word from our sponsors here. Godzilla Wins. Go to GodzillaWins.com. Get all our picks. Our column just came out. Must read. GodzillaWins.com. We will be right back. I'm live today in Morgantown, West Virginia. Stay with us.
You're listening to Godzilla Wins, brought to you by DraftKings. Go to DraftKings.com, promo code Godzilla for the best money and betting giveaways in America. Here comes the Godzilla of truth, Godzilla Wins, on the John Fredericks Media Network.
Down West Virginia today. My youngest son, Joe, going for baseball orientation. He starts here in, I guess, next June, right? He has the summer school. It's mandatory summer school when you play baseball here for the Mountaineers, so they can get ahead of the game. Plus, they got workouts coming. But the draft is in July, so we don't know what's going to happen. It depends on, is he going to get drafted? Where is he going to go? What's his slot? No one knows. So it's all a big mystery. We'll find out soon enough in life. Meantime, I'm here in Morgantown. This is GodzillaWins.com, giving you expert picks on my oldest son, Jack, now becoming quite the football guru. And Jack is live in Tunica, Mississippi at the Jackpot Casino, which he goes to because it's named after him. By the way, you probably don't know this, but I picked out the only 3 decisions I made in since I've been married is naming the kids. And actually, I named Jack after Jack Kemp, right? He probably doesn't even know that. So Jack Kemp, of course, no longer with us. Of course, actually, his real name is John Matthew, so I named him after me, really. But then we called him Jack after Jack Kemp. All good. He's live in Tunica, trying to beat his father, which is really tough to do. Now, let's get to more games here on the line. Just go to GodzillaWins.com. I'm putting them in the fire. GodzillaWins.com. All our picks are there, plus all our articles. And go to DraftKings.com. Just download their free app with a promo code Godzilla. Bet $5, get 200 free bets. Al Green can't wait till he gets off the air. He's doing that. He needs 200 Jack in his account. He's going to do it. Now, let's get to the West Coast. Seahawks at 49ers, minus 8.5. Now, look, folks, everybody knows, I have no problem laying wood, okay? I'm not intimidated. I lay points a lot. I just laid 10 with the Rams. I have no problem with this. But I'm just going to make this easy for you. How the hell am I going to lay 10 points on a San Francisco team with a rookie quarterback who tanked last week and got beat by Justin Fields in Chicago? There is no way that I'm laying 8.5 points with this guy who completed 40% of his passes. I mean, that game, and you can blame the rain. You can blame a lot of things. I don't think this quarterback is there. I think Jimmy Jesus is sitting on the sideline. I think when San Francisco signed him, remember they signed Jimmy Jesus late, right? He was going to go be a model or something. They signed him late because Shanahan started seeing things he didn't like. Whoever I'm sorry, they started seeing things offensively. They questioned. They signed Jimmy Jesus, big contract as a backup. Look, I don't think that Seattle's, God's gift of football here. They're horrible on the road. There should be an easy 8.5 lay, but Geno Smith played like a man possessed last week. I mean, this guy's been kicked to the curb. by default, he's got another shot here with a Medicor Seattle team. I can't lay 8.5 with Trey Lawrence. No way. I don't care. I'm taking the Hawks. 8.5. I think they could win the whole game. Jack?
Yeah, this is a no pick for me, basically because of everything that you just said. I picked the 49ers to go to the Super Bowl, I think. I definitely picked them to come out of the NFC West. I had a lot of faith in the defense, in the run game, and them winning the game in the line at the line of scrimmage. I figured Trey Lance makes the jump. A lot of people still feel that way. A lot of people blame the weather. A lot of people say, well, maybe the Bears aren't that bad. So that's why the line is so big, because people just know that the Seahawks aren't any good. And we don't know if Denver is very good. We do know that Seattle always overperforms in Seattle with the 12th man. Geno Smith did look really good. But is Geno Smith good? I mean, probably not. So at some point he's going to look like Geno Smith. You're probably safe laying the 8.5, but I rarely ever lay more than 7 points in an NFL game because too much can go wrong. You can be up by 10 or 12 or 16, and the team can just start taking plays off, and all of a sudden they win the game by 4. They don't care. They're professionals. They just want to get the win. They don't bet on this stuff. They don't care about the spread. So I can't lay 8.5 with the team that played as well as Seattle did. I just would stay away from this game. Watch it if you're a fan or if you are interested in to see how Geno Smith plays or Trey Lance, but otherwise forget it. Forget the game. I mean, I can't pick it.
I like the Hawks. I'm going to take the 8.5. I'm going to keep betting against Trey Lawrence until he proves that he can move the football. That his performance last week was really bad, and he completed 40% of his passes. I mean, think about that in the NFL today. All the fanfare. This guy's got a lot of pressure on him, and I think Seattle's loose. They come off a big win on Monday night at home. They got nothing to lose. They're not going to make the playoffs. But I'm betting on a quarterback that's on a mission from God or something. Geno Smith never turned out to be what anybody thought he would be. The Lord gave him a second chance. I think they cover. I think they could win the whole game. Something's wrong with the San Francisco team. I saw the replay last week. Yeah, blame the rain. Yeah, whatever. I like the Hawks plus 8.5. Okay. Bengals go to Dallas. I don't even know what to say about the Cowboys. They have no quarterback. They're now racked with injuries. The game Sunday night was an embarrassment, I thought, to the franchise. Almost as bad as the Titans game. Now they had no offense with Dak Prescott. No, there's no Dak Prescott. But here's what else bothered me, Jack. Here's what really bothered me about Dallas. Another 11 penalties. They did it again. They had the entire season. McCarthy said, the number one thing we have to do is stop the penalties. They had another 11 of them. This is just, I'm convinced now, this is an undisciplined team. I don't think they're particularly bright. I mean, they got another, 3 or 4 ridiculous offensive penalties motion again? I don't see it. Bengals, look, as bad as they played last week at Pittsburgh, they had 5 turnovers. I think they go to Dallas, and I think this is a blowout. Jimmy Burrow comes back. I'm going to lay the 7 on the road. Dallas is in big trouble this season. They could go 0-6 for the first 6 games without Dak. I love Cincinnati minus the 7. Jack?
Yeah, right. I didn't pick this game because I'm not wagering on a game with a backup quarterback. Dak Prescott's hurt, so I'm not even sure what the point of watching a game like this is. The Bengals probably roll just based on the fact that the Cowboys don't have their $25 million man in Dak Prescott. I do think that it's a little bit like taking the Cowboys. It could be an overreaction either way. Like either you're overreacting to the Bengals losing to the Steelers in a really, really bad game, which you shouldn't be because I think the Steelers are going to surprise some people, or you're overreacting to the Bucs absolutely walloping the Cowboys. The penalties are important. Mike McCarthy is not the guy. Everybody knows that. The Cowboys are waiting for Sean Payton next year. That seems to be what everybody seems to think is going to happen. I just can't recommend picking this game because you don't know what you're going to get out of a backup quarterback. So you're rooting for a blowout. Again, really tricky in the NFL. It just doesn't happen very often. A lot of times teams just slip in and cover those 7, 8, 9 points. So the smart money is probably on Cincy, but I can't pick this game. I mean, that's why I'm 5-3 last week and you're 5-10.
There's a lot of easy bets on this card. This is one of them. This is one of my top best bets here. I love Cincinnati. The more I looked at this game, I bet it, and then I looked at it again, and I doubled my bet. I love this game. Look, Cooper Rush has thrown 67 NFL passes in his career. 67 passes. Going against Joey Burrow and a team that just had 5 turnovers. And what did Burrow have? 4 interceptions? I mean, I think the Bengals recover from the disaster they had last week. I mean, the fact that you turn the ball over 5 times and actually go to the final minute in overtime is unheard of in the NFL. And the Bengals defense isn't that good. But Dallas has got a lot of issues here. They have no quarterback. McCarthy's on the hot seat. There's something wrong with this team. I like the Bengals. Okay. Texans at Broncos. In Denver. Here's my choice. Here's my choices during this game. 1, I could get drunk. 2, I guess I could fly to Denver and get stoned. Or 3, I could watch the game, put it on mute, and put on a Benny Hill soundtrack. Those are my 3 options. I could care less about these teams. I said at the beginning of the season, Denver was a fraud. I was right. I said the Cardinals were a fraud. I was right. But if I got to bet this game, I'm going to take the 10 with the Texans because I don't even think Denver can score 10 points. So I'm taking the Texans plus 10, Jack.
You're like the king of overreactions. I mean, Denver is a fraud. I'm right. Week 1. There's like 17 games left. Now, for our listeners, watch what he says about Tennessee when we start talking about Tennessee, because he's not going to say Tennessee's a fraud. He's going to say there's 16 more games left. So I love Houston here because I don't think Houston's that bad. The AFC South is trash. None of these teams are any good. I picked the Colts to win the division. I'm really thinking that you can get 18-1 right now on DraftKings for the Houston Texans to win the division. Maybe they rip off a couple wins. All you got to do is win like 8 games in this division, and you win the division. You get to hang the banner next year. Davis Mills crushing it down there in Houston. I'm taking the 10 points as well because Houston, they're gonna be good this year. They're gonna cover. This is an easy bet. Houston plus 10 all day long. Davis Mills, baby, let's go.
Okay. Both of us like Houston plus 10. Denver, to cover, you got to score points. I don't see it, right? I don't know how bad or good Houston is, but I think Denver's a complete phony team. So we both like Texans. Okay, let's get the Cards at Raiders. Jack, you're following the Raiders. Let's start with you. What's your take here?
Okay, well, the first thing you need to do is go to GodzillaWins.com and read Cameron Berg's first quarter preview. He broke down the game last week for the Raiders, and he looks ahead to the next 4 games. The Raiders looked pretty good against San Diego. They've got a couple injuries on defense, which could hurt them today. I think, and I know, Dad does not like Arizona. He's gonna complain all day long about the Cardinals. I think that the safe play here is the under. I think the under is 51.5. I just think this is a low-scoring game. Carr's still figuring out a new system. The Raiders are going to be good, but Derek Carr, and you can read this in the column, Cameron points this out, Derek Carr's best years are when he has 2 years under a new offensive system. He's had a ton of different coordinators, a ton of different offensive systems to learn. Josh McDaniel's system is notoriously difficult. It's just going to take him some time to get his footing, but he is going to play well. But the last half of this year and into next year with Josh McDaniels there, I just say none of these teams right now are scoring any points. Take the under, win the bet, and move on. But I know Dad's going to complain about Kyler Murray and the Cardinals.
Well, at the beginning of the season, when I did my preview, I said there were 2 fraud teams in the NFL, Denver and St. Louis. I'm sorry. not St. Louis, Arizona Cardinals. Sorry, folks, old school. I'm just going to read what I wrote in my column because I really can't say it better than this. And I want you to just hear what I'm saying because I believe in culture. Jack doesn't, I do. The Cardinals are an intellectually corrupt and morally bankrupt franchise. They sold their soul to a little snot-nosed soy boy who won't watch game film. It's him first, not team first. This is basically what's wrong with America today. This Cardinals team got embarrassed last week by Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. Then their hapless Cards coach, who I don't like either, Cliff Kingsbury, said after the game he criticized his team's practice habits and their work ethic. No crap, Sherlock. When your quarterback leader won't watch game film and won't practice hard, and he's your leader, now you're shocked that the culture has seeped into your whole team and you guys don't work hard at practice and then go to games and get blown out? Like, what planet, Kingsbury, do you live on? Okay? When your leader won't lead and coughs it up because he's a baby and doesn't want to work his tail off like everybody else, what the hell do you expect is going to happen to your team? You have a corrupt, bankrupt culture. You guys suck. I hate your franchise. I'm never betting you. And I'll tell you something else. Derek Carr, you got now another extensive injury list. You got 5 players out in the secondary. Derek Carr is going to light the Cardinals up on Sunday like a Christmas pinball machine. I can't believe I'm only laying 5. I'd lay 15. I love the Raiders -5.
Okay. At the risk of alienating everyone who lives in Arizona, let's not say that the Cardinals are a metaphor for the direction of America. I mean, like, I don't really believe in culture because these guys get paid lots of money to play a game that we watch. That's an incredible product. The Cardinals are not everything that you just said they were. You got to stop fixating on the fact that Kyler Murray likes to play video games. He's just a kid. He'll probably
because there's no leader. Because the franchise caved. They put in his contract that he had to watch 4 hours of game film because he wouldn't do it last season. So they give him $235 million, and they put it in his contract. It leaks out to the media as it should because that's our job. Somebody leaks it to the media as it should have leaked, and then he whines about it, and then they cave and say, okay, you can go back to playing Nintendo games and we'll take it out. I mean, instead of them saying, hey, when you prove to us that you can lead a team and you will do the work it takes, we will think about taking it out. In the meantime, dude, you signed it. And you want to whine, do your whining on the football field. That's the response of what the franchise should have been. Culture matters. The culture of the Cardinals under Kingsbury and their front office leadership has tanked because they let a little child dictate the terms to them. You can't win under that scenario. And they're going to end up firing Kingsbury, firing the GM, and getting rid eventually of Kyler Murray. This is a franchise in decline. I love the Raiders. Okay,
you can't,
let's get.
Hold on. You're an NFL analyst now. So for 17 weeks, your only take on the Cardinals can't be that Kyler Murray likes to play video games. So next week, do some research and give me something.
Well, I'm giving you the research now. They got half their secondaries out, right? They're racked with injuries. They got another 3. Who's going to play cornerback for them? Who's going to stop Derek Carr? Derek Carr is going to pass for 354 and blow them out. They have no secondary. That's my analysis.
I like the Raiders too, but let's get off the Kyler Murray soapbox here. The poor guy just wants to play Call of Duty.
He should have played baseball. Bears at Pack. We'll have to see what happens in the draft here. Bears at Pack. Chicago wins this game at home. Justin Fields, comes back in the rain. Now we're going to Green Bay. The Pack's -9.5. Aaron Rodgers, who I love, as you know, because I think he's the opposite of Kyler Murray, works 24 hours a day. But I love this line. He said, Jack, he says at the end of the game, they get beat, right? They get beat last week. And by Minnesota, who's really good by the way. He gets beat last week and wouldn't throw the ball to the rookies. So, of course, he goes in the post game and they're questioning him about it. And he doesn't like their work ethic, right? The opposite of the Cardinals thing. And another great line in football that's going to go down in history, along with some of the ones I said earlier on the Lions. He said, hey, newsflash, these rookies have to earn their way into my huddle. See, that's leadership. Packers go home. They go to Lambeau. I don't know how Chicago is going to score to win this game. I love the Packers minus 9.5. Again, I'm not afraid to lay points when I don't think the other team can win. And I think the team I'm laying them on is going to light the scoreboard up. Where the Bears going to score? Maybe they score 7 or 10. Packers win this game 28-10, 35-7. I love the Packers. Lay the 9.5 and laugh at Lambeau. Jack?
I mean, imagine if Carson Wentz or Jared Goff was the quarterback of the Packers. They would go 0-17. There's no personnel around Aaron Rodgers. It's just a travesty. And yet they'll probably still end up winning 11 games because he's such an incredible quarterback. I don't have a pick for this game, but go with the Packers. I mean, go with Aaron Rodgers. That's just smart betting.
I love the Pack. I love the fact that Rodgers tells it like it is. He's like, hey, I'm not passing you guys because you didn't work during the preseason. Your work ethic was terrible, and I'm not just going to throw you the ball. And he said, I don't care where you graduated from or what awards you won at Alabama or Auburn or the SEC. This is the NFL. This is my team. You want to get the ball, you earn your way into my huddle. I don't even think you should be here. See, that's how you create a football culture. That's why the Packers are going to win this game, and they're still my pick to get to the Super Bowl in the NFC. Although, let's get to this. We got 2 more games, and how many minutes, Al, here we got? We got 5 minutes. I don't impress easy, but I was really impressed by Minnesota last week. Jack, they played I bet Green Bay last week. They were at home. They moved the football. Cousins looked like the franchise quarterback everybody said he could be. He kind of went from a game manager to a fireball leader. I love their defense. I loved everything I saw about Minnesota last week. And look, I like Mike Zimmer. He was a defensive guy, and they lost a lot of very close games in 2 seasons. And I think he kind of got the shaft. But Kevin O'Donnell has brought a sense of urgency. He's brought more offensive firepower. Their offensive game plan was much more creative. I think they're taking better advantage of Cousins. They got an inordinate amount of weapons. And, yeah, I like the Eagles at home. I like A.J. Brown, but I'm not really a Jalen Hurts fan. I love the Vikings in this game. I think they go into Philadelphia and win this game. This team is going to be maybe the surprise of the NFL because they really looked sharp last week. I like the Eagles, but at home, I'm going to get 2.5. I'm going to go with the Vikings. Jack?
I didn't pick this game. I did pick the Vikings to win the division, so I feel pretty vindicated about that pick. Everybody was on the Packers on this show. I just think the Vikings are really good, but I also think the Eagles are good. I have no idea who's going to win this game, no feel for it, so I'm just going to avoid it. I don't pick games if I don't have a feel for it. I'm going to hold off on picking the Vikings for a couple weeks until I know exactly who they are.
Okay. I like the Vikings. The other thing is there's a lot of pressure. If you've ever been to a Philadelphia Monday night game, and I've been to 2 of them, there's a lot of pressure on the Eagles on a Monday night at home. Now, I love A.J. Brown. Jalen Hurts is not proven to me. I'm going to go with Kirk Cousins again. I like the Vikes. Okay, let's get to by the way, that's the late Monday night game. There's 2 Monday night games. The other one, Titans at Bills. Jack, lead us off.
Yeah, so usually I would never pick the Titans. They're not any good. They don't have any offensive weapons. Their quarterback's a stinkeroo. Their offensive line has too many holes. The running back is too old. The defensive line showed me nothing last week. However, and of course, and then you got the Bills who set the world on fire and have had like 14 days off. So it feels like the Bills should be an easy 10-point lay at home, but I don't lay 10 points. I just don't. I'll never do it unless it's some sort of special circumstance. I'm definitely not doing it on Monday night. Those games are always close. And if you lay 10 on Monday night, then you have to spend the whole Monday night standing in front of the TV worrying that the Titans are going to, slip in for 2 touchdowns at the end of the game when the Bills sort of take a break. So give me the 10 points with the Titans. I don't like the team, but I don't like the line either. So I'll take the Titans and probably cover.
Last week was a disaster if you're a Titans fan. We've gone through, as Titans fans, some really tough games, going back to the game we blew at Buffalo with a 35-3 lead, and we had the ball, and we were driving in the third quarter in the playoffs. You only couple that with the debacle we had against Cincinnati when we were the number 1 seed, and now they matched that with this nightmare last week against the Giants. The play calling is beyond imbecilic. Todd Downing is a half-witted offensive coordinator. Vrabel should have fired him last week. As long as he's there, this team is in trouble. He's an imbecile. He's got to get run out of town on a rail. I'm sick of him